Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament. We're reading the first epistle to the Thessalonians by St. Paul, and we're up to chapter 5, which this forms part of this so-called apocalyptic section dealing with the parousia, about which Paul has been talking in the previous chapter. Perideton chronon kaiton chiron adelphoi ukreon ekati human graphesthai. Regarding the times and the seasons, that is for the things discussed in the previous section, brethren, you do not have need for anything understood to be written to you. We get a passive here. It's very similar to the expression above. Back in chapter 4 verse 9 he uses almost the same clause, but he uses the active here. Here it's a passive, probably. Could possibly also be a middle. So it's either you do not have need, understand, for anything to be written to you, or it could mean you do not have need for us to write to you, and this would be then in the middle, but more likely the former, I think. Autoi ga akribos oidati hoti hemera kuriu hos kleptes en nukti hutos, and the next page is erkatai. For you yourselves know, he's constantly using this expression, akribos, accurately, that, now we get this odd expression, hemera kuriu, without any articles here, and it's probably a Hebraism or a Septuagintalism based on the fact that in Hebrew this would have been in what's called the construct state, which replaces the genitive in Hebrew, and it typically doesn't use any articles. So we would translate it the day of the Lord, but it's just a day of our Lord here. So you know accurately that the day of the Lord, and then erkatai on the next page, comes as a kleptes, as a thief in the night. So comes in this way, or comes thus, like a thief in the night. And there's the erkatai. Hotan legosi erene kai asphalea toti aifnidios autois ephistatai olethros hospe heodin te engastri ekuse kai ume ekfugosin. And whenever they say, understand, there is peace, and asphalea, safety. This is an interesting word. We get our word asphalt from this. It's alpha privative plus the root sval from sphalo, which is to slip. So not slipping means that you're safe, and asphalea comes to mean safety. So whenever they say there is peace and there is safety or security, toti at that time, aifnidios. This is really an adverb here, meaning suddenly, or it could be taken as an adjective with olethros, which is probably grammatically better. So a sudden destruction literally stands against them, so comes against them. Hospe, just as heodin. Odin is a third declension feminine noun. That's the nominative form of it, Odin. It means birth pangs. So the birth pangs, understand, come to the woman, because it's feminine participle here, literally having in her stomach, so this is just the idiomatic way of saying being pregnant. They use gastri in place of the usual word for womb. So putting that together, at that time, a sudden destruction comes against them as the birth pangs come understood against the woman who is pregnant. And in no way they will escape from ekfugo. This is the aorist subjunctive, and we get ume plus the aorist here for a strong negation. So they will in no way escape. Humeister adelphoi, ugesti en scote, hina hemera humas hos kleptes catalabe. But you, brothers, you are not, second person plural from the verb to be, you are not en scote, dative from skotos, third declension noun, for darkness. You are not in darkness. It's almost a result clause with the result that, so if you were in darkness, then the day would take you as a thief, literally. So you are not in darkness, so that the day might apprehend you, humas, hos kleptes, as a thief. Pantasgar humes huioi photos esti kai huios hemeras, for you are all sons of light and sons of day. Again, no articles here, but we can put them in English. Uk esmen nuktos udi scotus. Now, skotos is mentioned as the third declension noun, so this is a genitive here. So we are not of the night nor of darkness. So this is the third declension genitive. Ara un me kathudamin hos hoi loipoi ala gregoromin kai nephomin. Therefore, now the ara here is being used almost in its sort of classical sense. It's therefore then, but the original use of ara, it was connected, the ara root is connected with the root of the verb ararisco, to fit. And so to over-translate the word, because it had weakened a lot, even in classical Greek, it's certainly used in this way of Homer, of fittingly, or as is appropriate. That little particle there. It's often just skipped over and translated as then, but it does have a sense of appropriateness about it. So therefore, then, let us not sleep, and we get a pile of hortatory subjunctives here. Let us not sleep as the rest, that's the everyone else, but let us keep awake from Gregorio, Kai, and let us remain sober. The verb is nepho, and we get a hortatory subjunctive here again. Hoiga kathudontes nuktos kath edusin, kai hoi methuskominoi nuktos methusin. For those who are sleeping, they sleep nuktos, genitive of time during which, during the night, and those who are getting drunk during the night, from methuo. Humes der hemerasontes nephomen en diusamenoi thoraca pistios kai agapes kai perikephalean elpidas soterias. But we, being of the day, this is a genitive here, I think, so we who are of the day, let us keep sober, putting on, this is an aorist middle from enduo here, so putting on ourselves, to get the middle sense. Thoraca, from thorax, a breastplate, third declension, of faith and of love, and understand, it's actually having put on a breastplate of faith and of love, and understand having put on a perikephaleia, a thing which goes around the head, hence a helmet. And I think this, again, may be one of these Macedonian words that's come into Koine Greek. The Greek has many words for helmet, and this is generally not one of the earlier ones. It may be it's a very bland word. It's just the thing you put over your head, so hence a helmet. And then in apposition to that, we get elpides soterias, the hope of salvation. Hoti uk etheto hemas hotheos es orgain ala es peripoi esen soterias dia tu kuriou hemon Iesu Christu. to apothenontes huper hemon hina eti gregoromen eti kathudomen hama sun auto zesomen. So another one of Paul's slightly longer sentences, because God, ou etheto, did not appoint or destine, from this is one of the uses of tithemi in the middle. God did not appoint us for anger, but for the peripoiesin. Interesting word. It's used a couple of times in the New Testament. Originally has the sense of preservation, but here it's more the sense of acquisition or possession. So, but with regard to but for the possession of salvation through our Lord Jesus the Messiah. And in apposition, we get the genitive here, the one having died on our behalf, in order that, and we're getting subjunctives here with these, we're getting 3 of those, in order that whether we might keep awake, or whether we might sleep, we might live along with him. Paul combines these two together at the same time with hamason. We've seen that before. It's slightly odd Greek, but that's one of Paul's little expressions here. Dio parakalete elelus kai oikotoneti haiston hena kathos kai poieti. Wherefore encourage one another, and oikodometi, oikodomio is to build. So build up, perhaps. This may be a Semitism here, haiston hena, literally one, the one. So it's taking the one out of the you, and then so each one of you building up another one. So this expression is really equivalent to elelus, one another. So build up one another, kathos kai poieti, just as also you are doing. And that's the first part of chapter 5, and we'll finish this in the next recording.